welcome to this explainer.
Right, so today we're taking a step back to look at some news that honestly just sent absolute shockwaves through the global motorsport community. We're looking at the life, the staggering career, and the incredibly tragic recent reports surrounding two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Busch. Now, you know how it is. When news like this breaks, the internet can become a wildly chaotic place. So our goal today is to cut through that noise entirely. We're going to provide a clear, respectful, and strictly factual breakdown of the official announcements, the timeline of events as they've been reported, and most importantly, the undeniable legacy he built on the track.
Here's how we're going to break this all down today. First, we'll look at the breaking reports, then the official announcements, dive into a career breakdown, talk about his famous Rowdy reputation, and finally, wrap up with the industry tributes and his lasting legacy.
Okay, part 1, the breaking reports. Let's get right into the initial news that just stunned everyone.
41. According to the reports, that is the incredibly young age at which Kyle Busch passed away. I mean, just 41. It's right in the middle of life, you know? And that just adds this massive layer of suddenness and sheer shock for his fans, his team, and literally the whole racing world.
So, to really understand how this unfolded, we've got to look at the reported timeline leading up to his emergency hospitalization. We're hearing that over recent days, he had actually been battling a severe illness. It wasn't just completely out of the blue. He was actively fighting something pretty serious. And it escalated to the point where, during a race, he actually had to go seek medical help because of a heavy cough and severe weakness. Then came the really tragic part. During a later session, reports state he was actually found unresponsive in a racing simulator. And that's what triggered the immediate rush to the hospital.
Now, since we're totally focused on strictly verified facts in this explainer, it's absolutely crucial we highlight what we don't know, right alongside what we do. While we have this timeline of symptoms, the illness, the heavy cough, the weakness, the official cause of death, it actually hasn't been publicly confirmed yet. We're sticking strictly to the widely confirmed reports, avoiding any unnecessary speculation here, for sure.
Moving on to Section 2, Official Announcements. This is where all that internet speculation turned into a deeply sobering, confirmed reality.
You know how chaotic the modern media landscape gets during a breaking tragedy, right? At first, there was just this wildfire of unverified fake news and rumors spreading everywhere. But then came the shift to reality. Multiple major media outlets stepped in, along with official statements from NASCAR and his team, Richard Childress Racing. It was their solid verification that transformed this from a chaotic internet rumor into a widely confirmed, universally reported tragedy.
And you really have to look at this official statement from NASCAR. In a joint message confirming the news alongside Richard Childress Racing, NASCAR literally called Kyle Busch, quote, a once-in-a-generation talent. Now, that's not just your standard PR speak. Coming from the very governing body of the sport he basically dedicated his life to, that is an incredibly high level of praise.
Which brings us to part 3, career breakdown. Let's look at exactly why NASCAR called him a once-in-a-generation talent by breaking down his absolute dominance on the track. Kyle Busch is, without a doubt, widely considered one of the most successful drivers in the entire history of NASCAR, period. He grabbed the ultimate crown, the Cup Series championship, not once, but twice, in 2015 and again in 2019. Add to that 63 individual victories in the top-tier Cup Series alone. But his overall numbers, that's where he literally enters a league of his own.
234. That is his total number of wins across NASCAR's 3 national series. To put that into perspective, just think about the sheer consistency, the relentless longevity, and the immense raw skill it takes to cross that finish line first 234 times in highly competitive professional motorsport. It is a staggering, mind-boggling number that permanently cements his place in the history books.
All right, Section 4, the Rowdy reputation. Because honestly, the statistics only tell half the story.
You literally cannot talk about Kyle Busch without talking about his famous nickname, Rowdy. And look, this wasn't some manufactured marketing gimmick. It was the perfect descriptor for his entire approach to the sport. Rowdy was completely synonymous with a fierce, aggressive driving style and a totally fearless personality on the track. He pushed the limits of the car, the rules, and his competitors pretty much every single weekend.
And because of that unapologetic aggression, he was incredibly polarizing. I mean, he basically lived in 2 distinct worlds. To opposing fans, he was the ultimate fierce rival, the guy you passionately rooted against. But to his supporters, an absolute fan favorite, deeply loved for that exact same drive to win.
But here's the thing, the one unifying factor that brought these two totally different camps together was universal respect. Whether you cheered for him or completely against him, absolutely everyone in the grandstands and the garage respected his pure, undeniable talent behind the wheel.
Finally, Section 5, Industry Tributes and Legacy. Let's look at how the broader motorsport family and his own family are reflecting on his enduring impact.
The reaction from inside the pure motorsport world has just been one of profound shock and deep, deep sadness. It's not just the fans mourning, it's his peers. We've seen immediate, highly emotional tributes pouring in from actual racing legends. Guys like Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they've all publicly shared their heartbreak. When names of that caliber speak up immediately, it speaks volumes about the impact Busch had in the garage area and the sheer respect he commanded from the absolute best in the business.
But, his legacy extends way beyond the asphalt. Kyle is survived by his wife, Samantha, and their two kids, Brexton and Lennox. And off the track, Kyle and Samantha were actually super active in philanthropic spaces. They were incredibly dedicated to fertility awareness, which was a deeply personal cause for them, along with being involved in a bunch of other charity initiatives. It's a really powerful reminder that behind the helmet and that intense, rowdy persona was a dedicated family man trying to make a positive impact off the track as well.
Which brings us to the end of our factual breakdown. As the shockwaves of this incredibly sad news kind of continue to settle, it leaves us with this final thought. How will motorsport history ultimately remember the complex, dominant, and utterly fearless legacy of Kyle "Rowdy" Busch? He was a fierce competitor, a polarizing figure, a dedicated family man, and arguably one of the greatest drivers to ever grip a steering wheel. We hope this explainer gave you a clear, factual, and respectful look into the breaking news and the monumental career he leaves behind. Thank you for joining us today as we remember a true racing giant.